To set the stage, our source material introduces us to Mark and Sarah. To the outside world, these two were the absolute it couple. The script paints this picture of warm, golden-hued memories, a shared apartment, and a wedding date securely locked in for June. They have 5 solid years of history together. But this brings us to the central question of our explainer today. Can a single, grainy, pixelated background photo really destroy all of that? I mean, it seems almost impossible that half a decade of trust could be totally dismantled by a few stray pixels, right? But as we're about to see, the digital age makes secrets incredibly hard to keep. Just listen to the depth of the illusion here in Mark's own words. He says, "I trusted her with everything. I thought I knew every corner of her soul." This establishes his absolute unwavering trust in his fiancée right before the narrative just flips everything he knew upside down. He gave her access to his passcodes, his bank accounts, literally his entire future. The script deliberately emphasizes this complete vulnerability to contrast with the cold, hard data he's about to uncover. Because when you trust someone enough to hand over the keys to your digital and financial life, you really do believe you know every corner of their soul. But as the source material reveals, Mark was only seeing the version of Sarah she wanted him to see. And this brings us to the inciting incident. It starts on a seemingly normal night out, but it's defined by a stark contrast. On one side, we have Mark's location. He's out with friends at a dimly lit jazz bar, having a good time, enjoying the music, taking photos of the band, normal stuff. On the other side, we have Sarah's stated location. She claimed she was staying home, complaining of a severe migraine. She told Mark she was going to take some melatonin and be fast asleep by 10 p.m. It's a perfectly mundane setup, the kind that happens in relationships all the time. But this spatial separation, it becomes the catalyst for everything that follows. The tension really begins to build with just a simple text message. Mark, being the doting, supportive fiancé, shoots her a text. "Rest up, babe. Wish you were here." He genuinely believes she is resting. But later that night, a casual scroll through his phone's camera roll kicks off our whole digital investigation. And the script notes a crucial detail. He wasn't even looking for her. He was just reviewing a photo of a street performer near the jazz bar. It's this accidental documentation, the passive recording of our surroundings that we all do, that acts as the trigger for the entire unraveling. Zooming in on that seemingly innocent photo taken near the bar, Mark's world absolutely shatters. The script describes this screen zooming in on a grainy image under a streetlight, which slowly becomes clearer and clearer. And there, standing just across from the bar, is his fiancée, Sarah. But she isn't just standing there grabbing a coffee. The body language described in this source is unmistakable. She is pointing her finger angrily, her face twisted in a look of desperate intensity, and she's confronting a man Mark has literally never seen before. In an instant, the narrative shifts from a quiet night at a jazz bar to a high-stakes confrontation, caught entirely by accident. Mark doesn't just panic here. He enters a full-blown investigative rabbit hole, and the exact data maps out a chilling timeline. At 9:30 p.m., Sarah had conveniently turned off her Find My GPS ping. At 10 p.m., she was supposedly taking melatonin to go to sleep. But at exactly 10:14 p.m., the irrefutable digital timestamp on Mark's photo catches her right out there on the street. This timeline proves through hard, verifiable data that Sarah's entire story was a complete fabrication. The camera and the metadata attached to it simply do not lie. Fast forward to the next morning, and the narrative moves from digital discovery straight into psychological manipulation. Mark casually tests the waters. He asks Sarah how she slept and if she had ever seen a man matching the stranger's description. Her reply? Like a rock, honestly. And she swears she has never met that man in her life. The source describes her as lying to his face with the ease of a seasoned professional, just pouring her coffee in the morning sunlight, looking totally innocent. Mark notes that this was the exact moment his heart turned to ice. He realized he hadn't just found a cheater, he was living with a complete stranger capable of some intense gaslighting. But refusing to be manipulated, Mark leans into the data. He initiates a logical, step-by-step process to bypass her lies. First, as we saw, he questions Sarah to establish her official story on the record, which she firmly denies. Second, he takes the pixelated face of the stranger from the photo and runs a reverse image search. And third, the search yields a massive hit. Bam, a LinkedIn profile. By trusting the digital tools at his disposal rather than the verbal reassurances of this fiancé, Mark effectively breaks through the deception and identifies the mystery man. Okay, get ready, because here is where the script delivers a massive twist. That LinkedIn profile, it belongs to a man named Julian Vane. And who exactly is Julian Vane? Well, he's the lead investigator for the exact firm that Sarah was currently suing for wrongful termination. This entirely recontextualizes the narrative. This isn't just a standard romantic script about cheating or some secret affair. Oh no. It elevates the story into a calculated legal and financial betrayal of the highest order. Sarah was secretly meeting with the opposing side of her own lawsuit. To really understand the gravity of this, we need to define collusion. It's a secret or illegal cooperation or conspiracy designed to deceive others. And the source material makes it crystal clear here. Sarah wasn't just having a late-night chat with a stranger. She was actively colluding with the enemy. She was working to intentionally throw her own wrongful termination case in exchange for an undisclosed payout that Mark knew absolutely nothing about. Suddenly, that angry finger-pointing in the photo makes perfect sense, doesn't it? It was a high-stakes illicit negotiation. And the end game of this collusion is just devastating. Now, while the script doesn't explicitly state the exact monetary size of this illicit payout, so we can't confirm the dollar amount, the verifiable facts of the narrative do confirm her ultimate plan. According to the source, she was planning to take the money and completely disappear. She was essentially using her relationship with Mark as a cover of stability while orchestrating a massive financial exit strategy in the background. Mark's entire future, his upcoming June wedding, their shared life, they were nothing more than props in Sarah's scheme. Which brings us to the climax of the narrative. How does Mark handle this earth-shattering information? Well, he doesn't scream and he doesn't immediately pack his bags. Instead, he bides his time. He plays the long game. He waits for the perfect high-stakes moment, a high-end restaurant dinner celebrating their engagement anniversary. Sarah is dressed to the nines, smiling for a selfie, completely unaware that Mark has weaponized the digital evidence they discussed earlier. He has planned a very calculated, emotionally devastating execution of his revenge. Right in the middle of dinner, Mark gives her one final test. He looks at her and asks directly, "Where were you at 10 p.m. last Tuesday?" He gives her a chance to come clean. But when she lies, yet again, swearing she was at home, Mark drops the digital hammer. He tells her he has a surprise, a tribute to our journey, and he slides his phone across the table. He doesn't show a sweet montage of memories, though. He sends her a single file. It's the exact screenshot of the jazz bar photo, but this time with a bright red circle drawn right around her face and Julian Vane's face. But Mark didn't just stop at confronting Sarah. No, Mark executes a total, systematic demolition of Sarah's carefully constructed lie. As he watches her phone ping with the image, he calmly informs her of the distribution list. He sent the high-resolution version of the photo to Sarah herself, to her lawyers handling the wrongful termination suit, to Julian Vane's boss, and, yep, even to Sarah's mother. By doing this, Mark ensures that every key player in her life sees the verifiable truth simultaneously. There is literally no room left for her to spin the story or gaslight anyone else. Checkmate. The aftermath described in the script is chillingly quiet. Sarah's face pales. She tries to speak, but the words completely fail her. The evidence is simply too overwhelming. Mark calmly stands up, places his house key on the restaurant table, and walks away into the night without ever looking back. And as he walks down the city street, he deletes the folder of photos labeled Sarah from his phone. As the narrator notes, Mark lost a fiancée that night for sure. But by trusting the digital data over comforting lies, he saved his future from a predator. So, now that we've analyzed the complete digital anatomy of this scripted betrayal, it's wild to think the truth was hiding right there in the background of a mundane photo, just waiting to be zoomed in on. It really makes you think about the digital footprints we all leave behind every single day. So what would you do if you were scrolling late at night and uncovered this kind of undeniable, timeline-shattering evidence on your own device? It's definitely a provocative thought to leave you with. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep your eyes open, guys. You really never know what's in the background.